York is back. New York, where y'all at, y'all? We right here. What's good? New York, stand up. Let everybody know. New York's in here. We reppin' New York City. Cause we from New York City. New York's in the house without a doubt. New York's in the house wherever we go.
For Mark?
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Good, man.
How's your day going?
Oh, it's cool, man. I had a good morning so far. Only a few passengers.
Oh, yeah.
How's your day going so far?
It's all right. Life is lifing.
What does that mean?
Just, I mean, not to overshare already, but I just kind of had to cut things off with this person I was seeing. Maybe I'm being a little ridiculous, but I've just always been like kind of a neat freak. And this person was very much not that.
So you broke up with somebody because they weren't clean?
That's where I'm feeling maybe a little crazy, because it's not like, it wasn't like cockroaches and wasn't like,
Okay.
totally gross, but just like basic cleanliness, like just picking up after yourself and like keeping a nice home. I feel like my space is really reflective of like my mental space, you know what I mean?
I mean,
Without sounding too woo-woo.
Yeah, that's actually true. I mean, people who are messy usually have a kind of chaotic life, and they're kind of going through things. It's actually symbolic. It's like if you are messy, that means you are all over the place when it comes to your thinking, and you usually have a lot of issues.
I don't know. I feel like when I'm going through something, I guess maybe this is just me, but I like to keep my space. That's like my like grounding, you know what I mean? Keeping a clean, tidy space.
What was it exactly? If it wasn't cockroaches, like what was it clothes everywhere?
Just like dishes in the sink for a couple days, which is getting on the borderline of like gross, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even just as simple as like they have a hamper and like those clothes were just everywhere all over the floor, and I feel like
they didn't put it in the hamper?
No. And I feel like that's a pretty basic, easy first step, you know what I mean?
What kind of conversation did you have with this person to kind of like get them to understand that that's something that wasn't acceptable to you and maybe they need to work on that?
I've talked to them a couple times. I told them too, because there was this girl I dated a few years back she was actually like gross.
She was gross.
Yeah, she was so much worse. It was like weeks of dishes and dust bunnies everywhere.
What was going on in her life for that to be the case?
I don't know. We were in college, so she was always just like, I got classes and all this, and she was in a lot of extracurriculars. She liked to like, keep busy, but I was like, how do you even like sit down and focus to like study or anything like that if you're just living in a pigsty?
So this last person, you were dating that person as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. It was a little more casual. We haven't been seeing each other a long time. So I was just kind of like, maybe just get out of there before it gets too complicated, because it didn't seem to me like it was gonna be something that we could work out, because I also don't want to like overbear on somebody and tell them how to live their life, but I also don't want to live like they were, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so how did she take the breakup?
Well, it kind of started as a fight, because I'd been over a few times, and it was like I said, it literally smelled in there. I was like, oh no. And I am very conscious that I grew up a certain way and was just like, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm a neat freak, so I didn't want to put too much on her, and I actually offered to get her a house cleaner, and she took offense to that pretty hard.
I mean, I understand somebody taking offense to that because it's probably saying that, you know, you think my house is so bad and I'm incapable of cleaning it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just trying to like help her out, but
yeah.
She actually told me, she was like, I just cleaned today. What do you mean? And I was like, ooh, we got to get you like a vacuum or something at least. Like this is she had like tidied up. In her defense, she had like organized a little bit.
Yeah.
But she, you know, was just there was stuff shoved in like boxes under the couch, and like she had this like bookshelf there, and that was like so annoying. Like
so
everything
she had
doesn't
a
have to be
different level of
perfectly organized.
understanding of what clean was than you did.
Yeah, different definitions.
You've had two different relationships that, you know, I guess were about somebody being clean. Do you feel like it may be you?
Yeah.
Maybe you might have OCD or something. Like
Yeah. I've dated people in the past too where this wasn't an issue. There was someone in between these two people.
What happened with that?
That was a totally different story. That had nothing to do with cleanliness. That was just a personality difference, we'll say that.
What was the personality difference?
This guy was just a little like controlling, which I guess is ironic maybe now that I'm like trying to tell people.
So okay, so you deal with guys and girls.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking for the heart, not the heart.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Understand. You love who you love. All right. You know what I mean? Now when you talk about these two relationships, and you just mentioned that, so then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so with that situation, he was controlling you?
I share my location with a bunch of my friends and stuff, and I didn't like think anything of it like when we started like dating, but then it just got to a point where he was like constantly like tracking me. There was like no trust that I was like doing what I said I was doing, like where I said I was.
And where do you think that came from, his trust issues? Did he have somebody who cheated on him in the past or something?
Yeah, I think it's something to do. He never told me anything about cheating, but I certainly think there's some like abandonment fears and like.
You mean like a family member abandonment?
Yeah.
Or like a relationship abandonment?
I think it probably came from the family, is what it seemed like to me. Unless there was something he didn't tell me about. Honestly, that one didn't last long enough to like get into the.
You broke it off again.
Yeah, because I was starting to get freaked out.
I'm not trying to be like, you know, you should stick around to find out, but like, you know, you didn't get to the meat of trying to figure out what the issue is, and maybe you could have, you know, worked with him through it. You know,
yeah.
Or even like potentially, you know, assisted him in getting therapy. And
yeah.
I mean, I know you're not somebody's caretaker. You're not supposed to have to look after people, and maybe it was just premature and you want to get out of there before it got too deep. But
yeah,
you know, it seems based on a short period of, you know, relationships you've had, you know, you are the one breaking up with everyone.
Not always consciously, but I do. I like going after people where it's like, maybe I can fix them. You know what I mean? And that's always.
So you recognize these problems before you even like go into a relationship. You're actually, you know, choosing people who may have these issues, or these issues have shown themselves in the beginning.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I guess maybe it's like, you know, you want to be the person for somebody, and you want to be that like, maybe it's like to do with like a positive influence, being a positive influence. It's like, well, maybe I can turn them around and, you know, make good, you know.
And I guess when you don't turn them around, then you, to some degree, are responsible for partial abandonment. You're leaving them high and dry, you know, just essentially. You know.
No, that's true.
Whenever you date anyone, you're gonna have a certain level of adjustment that you're gonna have to make on your personality, compromise, and you're going to have to deal with some things, you know. So moving forward for your next relationships, you probably should take that into account, and maybe you should be honest with these people from the very beginning, because I'm not sure if you were able to tell them that you had issues with them from the very beginning. Straight talk leads to straight understanding. Just be direct from the very beginning and say, this is what I can't deal with. Like the woman who was nasty, whatever, like that. I find it hard to believe that you didn't know that, like, after a little bit of time, and it seemed like you dated her for a while, and even in spite of that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It should have been something that should have been direct. Even though she got offended by the house cleaner thing, you should have let her know, look, I think your house is a mess, and I'm not trying to insult you, but this has to change, and I can't really deal with this. If I wanted to move forward with you in a more serious level, potentially marriage or anything like that, I don't want to live like this.
Yeah.
I don't want to live in a house where it's messy like this all the time. So what can we do about that? Give her the opportunity to correct that behavior. And if she doesn't, then you say deuces. You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that one, there was certainly more of a conversation. I think that's maybe where my, like, you know, just act too fast. Literally, this happened right before I walked out and got in here. But with this,
all right, I'm kind of confused. I don't know. Someone just happened.
Yeah,
okay.
This is the most recent one.
Okay.
But this girl, there was conversation there, and I think that's maybe where my like fear and just being like, all right, well, let me just get out of here, because with her, there was conversation, and I was like, hey, this is something that really bothers me, and I certainly like swallowed it for a while, just because I was sort of embarrassed to like say anything to her. And then I'm just aware that, like, I don't know, I feel like a freak sometimes, because I certainly, like, I know that my standards are higher than a lot of people's, and it can seem crazy sometimes how like,
well, your standard is
neat
your standard.
and organized I like things to be in my space.
You might have to find someone who is on the same level as you as far as standard. I mean, do you notice any kind of difference between, I guess, the guy and the girl as far as their acceptance of your standard? Like, is it more easier to deal with a guy than versus a girl when it comes to your standard?
I mean, it really depends.
Because the second guy, you said he was controlling, but do you think he had an issue with your neatness?
No, he was a lot cleaner.
So the two females were not as clean, but the guy was clean.
Yeah, well, this one girl, she got a lot of takeout, and there was just like wrappers and stuff everywhere, and it's like, fine, you know, that happens once in a while. I don't know, but she was by far the messiest.
I just find it weird that, you know, these women could be messy. I mean, were they put together when you guys went out on dates?
Yeah, you know, she like cleans up well. She, you know, knows how to dress and like just like present herself out in public. But then it's just like the way she likes to live, I guess. You know, the way she feels.
Were you ever able to go to her family's house and see how they live and see if their place was messy?
Nah, because we were in college, so she was quite a ways away from home. So I don't know if that was, I don't know. I guess it could have been something where, like, you know, some people get really lucky with their parents. I don't know if it's lucky because then it affects you later in life. But, you know, people have their parents like cleaning up after them, or they're like, a lot of people I went to college with had quite a bit of money. So I don't know if they had like housekeepers or...
Oh, so that's actually a common thing where people you went to college with were kind of messy in college and they just didn't have their stuff together.
Yeah.
And I guess that extends to some of them post-college because they're not, I guess, not being taken care of by their parents anymore. They have to fend for themselves and they just haven't learned how to adjust.
Well, that's the other thing. When she was living with roommates, I don't think I noticed it as much because the roommates were picking up the slack, you know what I mean? Her room was sometimes a little bit of a mess, but then we would just like hang out in the living room.
So maybe she might have had a clean roommate who did most of the work.
Yeah.
And she was able to disguise it.
Yeah. When she started living by herself, that's when I was really like, whoa, this is quite a difference in just like our living standards, I guess.
What's going to happen moving forward? I mean, with dating people, are you going to tell them? You're going to tell them first and foremost, this is my deal breaker.
Yeah.
I can't deal with a messy person.
I guess I should be leading with that more, I suppose.
Are you on like dating platforms and things like that, or are you just meeting people organically, like in a bar or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was meeting people organically. It's all on the apps now. You know, it's so hard to.
So do you write that in your profile? Like, I need a neat person.
I haven't been, just because I don't want to seem like a freak, but I guess maybe I should, because like I guess
you'll attract what you want.
Yeah,
like,
somebody's
sometimes
got to be done with my freak.
I think what it is that you probably want to cast a wide net, but at the end of the day, if you really intentionally want what you want, you need to say exactly what you want, and whatever you want will come to you. It'll find you.
That's true.
You know?
I guess that's why I didn't feel as bad I mean, I'm still like, I don't know. I'm like, was I being too wild with this guy I just ended it with? But that was a little more casual, you know. So I didn't feel as bad being like, I don't know if I want to hang out here, but certainly for like, because I mean, you know, that's just the culture these days. Is everything is so casual, but I still do want to find that like partner, you know what I mean? And I
So
guess,
what do you look for when you are looking for a partner, whether it's, you know, guy or girl? Like what's the thing that draws you to someone?
somebody who is emotionally mature, somebody who's very driven, you know, out there, go-getter. And I guess I gotta add someone who takes hygiene and cleanliness and tidiness very seriously into that mix too.
New York is back. New York, where y'all at, y'all? We right here. What's good? New York, stand up. Let everybody know. New York's in here. We reppin' New York City. Cause we from New York City. New York's in the house without a doubt. New York's in the house wherever we go.